In this video, I'm going to tell you what I would do if I had to start over and get a job in tech this year in the modern era with all the new developments in things like artificial intelligence and things that we have to compete against. So why should you listen to me? Well, my name is Will and I've been working 8 years so far in the digital marketing and analytics field. For the first 5 years, I worked for an agency where the majority of our clients were business-to-business software and tech companies. And then in the last 3 years, I transitioned to become a senior digital marketing data analyst, which is a subset of a data analyst. And we have various different types of clients, from manufacturing to tech to healthcare to nonprofit. So let me just get straight into some of the tips. I'm not claiming I have all the answers. I'm not saying I have all the tips, but I have successfully gotten my foot in the door in the industry despite not having a degree in it or a degree in marketing or anything. I actually had a science degree in school, and perhaps some of these tips may just give you a few new ideas that can help you out. So the first tip, there's 3 big ones, but the first big tip is actually to focus on your marketable skills that the job description cares about and not focus on AI. Now, I'm not saying this is a binary thing. I say, yes, definitely work on AI, but I don't think that becoming just an AI guru without having a lot of marketable skills is going to get you that job application. Frankly, I've been looking at job applications these days just to prep for this video, and some job postings are not saying, hey, we want someone who is a master at writing artificial intelligence prompts on ChatGPT. I certainly think you should still do it, but I wouldn't overemphasize it. So it's not binary. It's not yes or no, don't follow artificial intelligence trends. I'm saying, yes, still do that stuff, still work on artificial intelligence chat prompting, but typically you need to just drill in on the qualifications that they care about and then get them. Now, you don't need to get all of them. Typically, a lot of job postings have a lot of things that they want in a candidate. But similar to dating, like, you can't always get your whole laundry list of things. I remember there's an episode of Jersey Shore. It was one of the earlier seasons where Snooki had this long list of things that she wanted in a guy. And guess what? The guy she ended up marrying had like a small portion of those things on her list because, you sometimes can't get it all. And what I mean by that is not necessarily, this job posting settling for you, but don't be discouraged if you don't have all the things on there. Maybe it says 5 years of experience in marketing and data analytics and you don't have that. But you can have 1 year, even if you don't have an initial job, you can build an internship or experience. And then you may try for a smaller, more entry-level role that's asking for 1 to 3 years of experience. And you can build at least 1 year on your own, just working for free, reaching out to local businesses and helping for free, trying to get an internship somewhere. There's a lot you can do to really start to build those experiences. Hard skills too. If they say certain things that you need, for example, I was looking at a few job postings for my role as a digital marketing analyst just to prep for this video. And some of them said, you need Salesforce experience, you need Google Analytics experience, you need HubSpot experience. If you don't have those things, you can get them. Some of these tools are free. You can play with them yourself, use your own data, or you can work at a internship or stepping stone entry-level job that gets you that experience working with clients who have those tools. So there's a lot of ways to build the things that you need, but I really think that's the key. There's a lot of people becoming engineers or programmers and they taught themselves. And for me, since I'm in marketing, I taught myself a lot of digital marketing. I even built a website out of fun and passion that ended up getting millions of visits. This was back in the day using SEO, which is search engine optimization. And guess what? That caught the eye of employers. I did it all for free, all on my own. You don't necessarily need millions of views or visits, but it's one thing that you can potentially have to stand out. Maybe it's just thousands of views. It's better than the other competitors who are doing the bare minimum and not listing any accomplishments with real numbers. So I really think one thing that you need to focus on if you want to kind of succeed is you have to hit those key bullet points. You don't have to hit every single one, as I mentioned, but if you can hit those keywords will be scanned not just by the computer, but also by humans sometimes, because that's what they're really looking for. Like, they need to get this job done. They're not just listing these hard skills for the fun of it. And so the more you can label that in your resume, in your job application, the better off you're going to be. Those flashy new things like artificial intelligence, if they don't mention it in the job posting, how relevant you think it is to like getting the job, it'll probably help. And I'm not saying don't focus on AI, but it's certainly not going to be everything to getting that job. Hey, AI still helps tremendously in certain ways. Like, you can curb a lot of programming. Even in my job, I don't need to program as much because I can ask ChatGPT to write part of the code for me. But that being said, you got to really figure out what do they care about and what will they test you on. Are they going to let you use ChatGPT on the interview? So it's still a little bit of a game. Maybe even for the real job, you're allowed to use ChatGPT. But if the name of the game is that the employers in the job interview process are still looking for real skills in Python, for example, and you're going to have to run through a few programming language exercises to prove you can actually write code because, I don't know, the employer still thinks it's useful that you write code, then actually learn those skills. Don't rely on AI or something, because you have to play the game that's laid out in front of you that's going to help you win and get that job. Okay, number 2, the second thing you can do is always be networking. ABN. Now, what I mean by that is, looking back at my life and all the informational interviews I went on about 100 informational interviews, at least. And the reason I did that was, back in the days when I was struggling with finding a job, I actually went through this course that's pretty well known. It's Ramit Sethi's Dream Job course. It's not cheap. And it's not cheap because it gets a lot of people's results. People are satisfied with the course. And essentially it teaches you how to really find your dream job and network and get that job. And one thing you find is having the skills is part of the equation. So you can't, be without the skills. But then the other half that boosts you above is networking. And it's not just through the course I learned that. Through the informational interviews I've done, a good portion of the people I asked and interviewed, they admitted that they got their jobs not only because they had the skills, but they knew someone in the company and they were referred in to make sure that their application got seen and maybe even pushed up a bit so that they got the job. Now, you can't just rely on networking if you have no skills. If you're applying to be a rocket scientist or a software engineer and you have zero code, unless you have the best network on earth like the CEO and you just want to have a job that you can't actually do, 99% of the time you still need the actual hard skills. But this is a bonus hack that's really going to jump you higher up, because there's probably, of the 100 applications, maybe 10% are qualified, 20%. That's still 20 people you have to compete against, but then that referral just jumped you to the top of the pile and now you're number one. So how do you get these referrals? Well, that course Dream Job goes into more detail, but the simple idea here is essentially, you use LinkedIn to find the job titles or the companies that you want to work for, and you have to do a lot of cold messaging until a very small percentage say yes. And then the message, you have to split test a lot of messages, but they have to be very punchy and useful and not taking up much of their time. It could literally be a 10-minute coffee interview or coffee session where you genuinely want to know about this person. You don't come in there trying to get a job or being transactional, but you genuinely want to learn more about the company and what it takes to get that job and what you are missing to get that job. And so the purpose is, sure, you're getting in there, you're becoming a familiar face, but typically what the focus is on basically learning more about what you are lacking and learning more about if this job and company is a fit for you and what you would need to do to get to that next level. And it's interesting because if they sense you have the skills, they are already intuitively thinking of whether or not to refer you. You typically don't want to bring it up because then it becomes a transactional thing. Then they're like, oh, he just wants a job. And then it just becomes unlikely that they'll say yes to the interview, and then it may turn them off from that relationship. So even if people are there to network, you don't want to make it feel like networking. That's just like a law of human nature. So just keep that in mind, and yeah, actually use the tips. It's not just about, oh, I'll get a familiar face. A lot of times I just got a lot of advice and information that's opened my eyes and saved me a lot of time, because I found it that maybe I actually don't want to do this job because that's what the actual day-to-day lifestyle is. Or, oh, these are the skills I'm actually missing, and I would need to get these skills to actually have a fighting chance. So then you can go and get them and then reapply. So then the third and final tip I would have for you, once you have the skills and the networking, is focus on quality versus quantity, and then you can dial up the quantity if you can sustain that. What I mean by that is most people put very low effort into the average application they send out, and then they mass spam and send out maybe 100 applications a month or something crazy like that. And nowadays, with certain job boards offering one-click apply buttons, it just becomes a real mess. And usually these one-click apply buttons are not set up for you to be successful. Your success rate of getting a job interview offer or a response go up when you spend more quality time per job posting. And to do that, I think you want to start with dream companies or mid-tier companies that you actually really want to work at. And that way, when you're working on these, you can actually spend the time to craft a cover letter and a resume tailored to this, and they can tell that you crafted it especially for this, and it just leaps off the page. It leaps off the page the passion that you have, the energy you have, the enthusiasm you have for this job. And frankly, it's not even that much more of a time commitment. Think about what you would have to do. You probably have to tweak a few bullet points or lines on your resume, maybe the intro paragraph a bit, to really be personalized towards this company. Okay, not that big a deal. What's that, like 20 minutes, 5 minutes? And then, yeah, you may have to, tweak your existing cover letter, add a few more stories or details unique to the company, maybe write a few additional fresh paragraphs of content personalized for this company. But what's that going to really take? 30 minutes, maybe an hour if you're a really slow writer and editor. But think about the payoff there. You have now much higher chance of leaping off the list of applications, because most people, the majority, are not going to take that effort. And now you have a shot not just at any company, but a dream company or a tier 2 company that you still be pretty excited about. Versus, spamming out all these low effort resumes to 100 companies, some companies that, let's be honest, you probably didn't even spend much time looking about or researching. You just wanted a job desperately. And guess what that's going to look like? It's going to look like you didn't put in effort. It's going to look generic. It's going to look like you're needy or desperate. And you're likely just going to more so end up with one of these low tier companies or jobs where, they didn't care anyways and they wanted you, or they overlooked it because they're just taking everyone, or their standards are lower. So just keep that in mind. It's, where do you want to go? You want to aim for excellence at a place you want to work, or do you want to not spend that effort and you don't front load the effort, and then for the next year or 2 or 3, you're at a job or company that's not as spectacular and doesn't excite you as much as you want to. So if you like this video, leave a like, hit the subscribe button down below, and join my free email newsletter where you get more exclusive tips like this on how to get a job as a digital marketing data analyst. Thanks for watching.